I think this is the most embarrassing thing we're going to show you guys. We're partnering with Omaze to give away a Sprinter van with over $80,000 in upgrades. For more details, go to omaze.com/ambition strikes. We've been living in the truck camper for over a year now, and when I say living in it, I mean living in it. No hotel breaks, no Airbnb breaks, no staying with family. This has been our home for over a year.
I think life on the road and living full time in an RV or a truck camper can look really glamorous sometimes. So we have a few confessions to make.
Prior to living in the camper, I was no dogs in the bed. It was something that I said I would never do. But somehow the dogs always end up in the bed. And I think it's because this is such a small space and they get so wound up that sometimes the easiest way to get them to settle down is to let them snuggle in the bed. So it's not uncommon in the mornings that I'm up in the bed while Riley's getting ready and the dogs are with me.
I think that's a habit that I actually started.
This is going to be a habit that's hard to break once we're living full-time in the apartment, but for now, it is what it is.
If the weather's warm enough, the dogs are perfectly content sleeping in the back of the truck. But if the weather's not warm enough, we have to set up beds on the floor of the camper for them, and there's just simply not room for all of us down here all at the same time. Confessional number 2. Not only do we have an inside shower, but we also have an outside shower. And before we moved into this camper full time, I took 1 or 2 showers per day. We found that finding a way to fill our fresh water, especially during the winter, can be difficult. Emptying the gray water can be difficult, and it's become just easier to not shower as often. Sometimes it gets a little gross. I'm not really sure exactly when we fell into that habit, but the longer we've lived in this camper, the fewer and further between the showers have become.
Probably our most embarrassing confessional. We didn't really realize that we didn't shower that often until we started making this video and we started doing the math on how often we shower. But yeah, I think that's the reality of RV life, is sometimes it's just easier to not shower.
It's been 4 days since I last showered, and I think Courtney's gone longer.
Moving on to confessional 3. We've covered our sleeping habits, we've covered our showering habits, now it's time to cover our eating habits. When we built this camper, we didn't want to give up a ton of square footage for a big fridge, so that meant we ended up with a chest style fridge. The chest style fridge is awesome for a lot of reasons. It's super efficient, it holds a lot of food for the square footage, and the cold doesn't fall out when you open it like a normal fridge. But there is a downside. We've found that it's really hard to fit produce in here to keep it fresh without getting it crushed, and so we don't eat as much fresh produce as we care to admit. It's a lot easier to just stuff in the fridge with meat and eggs and cheese. And so our meals are probably not as balanced as they would be when we lived in a normal house. When we're on the road full time, we are always near somewhere to buy snacks.
One of the great things about living in a truck camper is the number of little spaces I have to squirrel things away. I don't even think Courtney's ever seen the full extent of my snack stashes. I'm sure Courtney has her stashes as well, but those are the ones that I know about. I know that when we started this trip, I had expectations that every night would be this epic, beautiful place out in the middle of nowhere.
But the reality is that traveling, especially in winter, can be really muddy and really dirty. And so truck stops offer a paved, clean, kind of quiet spot that we can easily camp.
While we wish we had a beautiful spot every night, home is where you park it, and home is usually a truck stop.
One of the biggest reasons that we wanted to pass through between the truck and the camper was that we can sleep anywhere, and we had this peace of mind knowing that if we needed to drive away, if we felt unsafe, we could just crawl through, we don't have to go outside, and we can drive away. I think the pass-throughs allowed us to camp anywhere overnight, and we feel just as safe as if we're in an RV park. Part of this confessional is that we could probably sleep anywhere with our foam composite walls. We can't hear anything outside, and we sleep like a baby even when we're next to the freeway.
We've also learned the necessity of setting an alarm in this camper because with the blackout shades on the windows, even parked in the busiest places, we've slept in way too late.
We are so excited to be partnering with Omaze to give away a Sprinter van that's converted with over $80,000 in modifications and upgrades. Omaze is an exciting company that gives away epic prizes and experiences while simultaneously raising money for charity. Their current giveaway is a 4x4 Sprinter van built by Vansmith, and you even get to pick the exterior upgrades. So maybe you'll opt for the rear bike rack so that you don't have to take your bikes apart. If you win, you get two options. You can have your van delivered, or you can get flown out to Colorado and road trip back.
You can go to omaze.com/ambition strikes to enter for your chance to win.
When Omaze reached out, we were really excited about the organization that we would be supporting. MicroWorks Foundation is on a mission to redefine education and help people get trained for skilled jobs, because the definition of a good education and a good job can mean so much more than a 4-year degree. So for a chance to win and to support an amazing organization, head to the link in the description below.
One of the things we love about this camper is this gigantic back closet. Everything we own has a specific spot where it belongs. The problem comes when we add something new to the mix. It just bounces around without a home until we eventually shove something under the back seat to make room for it. For example, the snow boots I found on sale, even though winter is over.
I think this is the most embarrassing thing we're going to show you guys. The back seat is a mess.
Pretty much everywhere I store things is a mess. We took the back seat out of this truck and built this platform for our dogs to sleep on. And if we hadn't done that, I have no idea what we'd be doing, because there is just stuff crammed under this platform. For example, Courtney's rain jacket that doesn't have a home, my jacket that doesn't have a home, our camp chairs, our tripods, our ski gear, this leaf blower. We have random drinks rolling around back here, the vacuum cleaner, our car wash brush, the first aid kit, extra dog food. Seriously, this thing is a never-ending cavern. I didn't even know about this roll of paper towels. Hey Courtney, I found the laundry bag. I'm really glad that we have a crew cab truck because it keeps all this stuff that we don't need very often out of the camper. I don't really want to show them the rest of my messy storage. But I guess this is a confessional, so I better confess all of my messes. This is my other pair of snow boots.
They're not allowed in the camper because they smell.
I don't even know what's in this bag. That's where the jumper cables are. I guess this is Courtney's thing, but it's messy. but this one's exploded. Oh my God.
Do you think it froze?
I think it probably froze. Oh my gosh, Courtney.
Well, there you go, dudes. If you live with a lady in a camper, you're still gonna end up with stuff in your cabinets. I didn't even know that was there.
I'm gonna go wash my hands.
Are you conditioned?
I love mountain biking so much that we built a custom truck camper around mountain biking so that we would always have our bikes with us, locked away and secure. And it only takes us about 20 minutes to put our bikes together and 20 minutes to take them apart again. But when I look back over the last year, I realized that we really haven't ridden our bikes that much. I wish that we used our bikes more, but I think that the hassle of having to assemble and disassemble our bikes has prevented us from using them as much. So I'm a bit torn on this bike storage solution because it does mean that our bikes are locked away inside, out of sight, out of mind, and they're always safe, but it also means we just don't ride them as much. So I guess the conclusion is that we just don't ride our bikes as much as I hoped we would. And coming from California, Courtney and I are both used to being able to ride our bikes year round. And it turns out other parts of the country have this thing called mud and this other thing called snow that have prevented us from being able to ride our bikes as much as we wanted to. So they've kind of just been this thing that we haul around, taking up space and not using very often. I think we haven't ridden them since October of last year, which was like 6 months ago. I think it's time to go on a bike ride.
I have absolutely loved living in this truck camper, but it does come with some compromises, and I hope our confessionals kind of shed some light on some of the less glamorous sides of living in a truck camper full time.
I think that for me, living in a truck camper has been a really good lesson on expectations versus reality. And the reality is I do love living in this camper, but it's not quite what I expected.
I love living simple and I love living small, but the longer we've lived in it, the more things we have reacquired, and I think we're due for another purge.
I think it's time to get rid of some stuff.
So thanks for watching, guys. This was a fun little break. We've been really enjoying our road trip, but we cannot wait to get back up to our property and keep working on our homestead.
We'll see you back up there.